Betrayal in Marriage. Choose to forgive or seek revenge. Subscribe to our channel for more inside stories. John. I'm unhappy. I want to get a divorce. Although John was somewhat shocked, he was not completely unprepared. They had been married for almost 20 years. But Emma had been spending a lot of time lately talking to her friend and so-called marriage expert, Lisa. Lisa's experience was based on the fact that she had been through 3 divorces. John, can you hear me? I want to get a divorce. Yes, Dar. I heard. But this is such a serious matter, and I don't want to answer hastily. I think I was as loving and devoted a husband as possible. I think I was a good father. You didn't mention any problems in our sex life, so I don't know anything about what happened. But after hearing from you, my answer is this: I can't stand the idea that marriage to me will deprive you of the chance to be happy. Although it breaks my heart, I will support you in your divorce. But tell me, is the reason for divorce something that happened recently, or has it been building up for some time? Darina replied, yes. Gradually. I need a little space. A little time to explore other opportunities. Meet other people. It is my understanding that the court requires that we be legally separated within 90 days of signing the documents. Eventually, I may change my mind and want to stay married. We may not have to get a divorce. John mused. That's close to what I've heard other people say about their divorces during the 90-day period of separation. We both date other people and it is not considered cheating. But in the end we both have to agree to stop the divorce. However, either of us can proceed with the divorce without the consent of the other party. John realized that Emma did not fully understand that he would have the same freedom as she did. I felt that if I filed the documents first, it would depend on me whether to continue them or go for divorce. Then he hesitated. John objected. I don't think that's right. But just in case, I'll also apply so that we're on the same page. Isn't that fair? Ooh, I guess, Darnie stammered. Are you saying that you want to get a divorce? Obviously I was under the wrong impression that I was a suitable husband, father and lover. No, I don't want a divorce. But I won't stand in the way of your future. Honey, I never said that you were inadequate. You are a wonderful husband, father and lover. I just want to experience something new and different. Spend some time with other people. It might make me feel better. I just need some time. Being legally separated will give me this freedom. Nema. The fact that you need more than I can give you defines my inadequacy. He was silent for a while, then continued, have you already gotten a lawyer and completed the paperwork? She ignored his response regarding feelings of inadequacy. No, I don't have documents yet. I plan to use Junior Lewis. He handled Lisa's divorces. So Emma confirmed the source of this idea of seeking something more for herself from her marriage. Well, I'll probably ask my cousin Sophia to handle my part of the divorce. Sophia from hell. Dar, I know you don't like Sophia, but she's a really good person. Her reputation stems from her job. She truly fights for her clients, whether they are men or women. Ironically, after the last family barbecue, probably because she had too much to drink, Sophia volunteered that if I ever need a divorce lawyer, she would handle it for free. Wow, John continued. We have something to talk about. I propose that you spend the next 2 weeks preparing for your divorce. This way, we can begin our separation on the 1st of the month. This is fine. Maybe I don't understand why we have to do anything before the separation is over. John explained well. I guess the purpose of the separation is to see what it's like to be divorced, so we can decide if we really want a divorce. This means that the period of it should be practice, so to speak, for what life will be like after the divorce. Well, we won't figure anything out until the divorce. It can get quite messy. Does this make sense to you? Maybe I really didn't think about it. Emma's resolve was weakening. I'll tell you what. Why don't we go into the kitchen? Grab a notepad and start planning out everything we need to do. I'll put on the coffee. With these words, John got out of bed and headed to the kitchen, leaving Emma in thought. By the time Emma got to the kitchen, the coffee was already boiling and John was scribbling on a notepad. Okay, John continued. There is so much to think about that it is difficult to decide where to start. I think we need to talk about children first. What are you talking about? Well, we'll have to tell them what's going on and we'll both have to say the same thing and try to make sure they don't think our divorce is their fault. Emma became very worried. Both girls were very emotional and might not take the bad news. Well, I don't understand why we need to tell them so much. Can't we just wait 90 days and maybe we won't have to tell them anything at all? But dear, how will you explain to them when they ask, why doesn't Dad live here anymore? But why don't you live here? We will still be their mother and father. I figured that you would continue to live here during the separation, and I mean we could go out occasionally without disrupting the children's lives. I don't think this will work. Though first, it would mean that we would have to coordinate our dates. One of us might get angry at the other. If one of us wants to go on a date one night and the other says it's inconvenient, we might think that the other is trying to keep us from dating. Most importantly, how are you going to experience what it would be like after the divorce if you behave the same way as you do now? Additionally, children may guess or hear from others that we have been seen hanging out with other people. We must tell not only the girls but also all our relatives and friends. Otherwise they might think that we are cheating on each other. The worst thing is that I'm afraid that no matter how we explain this to the children, they will probably think that it is their fault. It's unfortunate, but from what I understand from child psychology, it's impossible to stop children of divorce from feeling like it's partly their fault. We just have to make sure we say the same thing and really emphasize our love for them. They are good kids and they will probably adjust eventually, although it may require some professional therapy. They might even enjoy having extra grandparents from your new boyfriend and my new girlfriend or gifts for birthdays and holidays. Of course, we will have to coordinate very closely where and when we hold birthdays. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving and Christmas. We can barely do that now with only one set of grandparents. Besides, if I stay in the house, you'll have to meet your man at his place or at a fancy motel. It would be wrong for you or me to bring our lover home while the other is at home with the children. Also, we have to figure out what having two families means for our finances. Obviously, this will mean that we will have less money to live on, because we will add the cost of renting my apartment and utilities to our current expenses. You'll have to get used to paying and taking care of everything that we now share together and I myself do for the family. Joint assets are usually divided 50-50. This means we will have to cancel all joint checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, and then file support and child support. Fine. There's so much to do. Until the first day Emma sat there in shock. She didn't know what to say. John continued, I'll try to rent an apartment closer to work. This way the girls will have a bed when they stay over on the nights. I have visits. The standard for visitation in most divorces is that the spouse outside the home can see the children every weekend and every other major holiday, unless the spouse at home agrees to more. John, I expected you to date girls a lot more often. There's homework, sports, drama, and other events that they are used to. Both you and them seem to be enjoying their time together so much. Darling, I will try to be as much a part of their lives as possible. However, you and your boyfriend should be willing to take some of what I do. It's just reality. Weeknights for visits will be difficult because they would rather be home since they have school the next day. If I find someone else, she might have kids too and I might have to help them with homework and extracurricular activities. You may have to help your new husband with the children. Then there's the problem of storing clothes and toiletries into places, school transportation since I may not live on a bus route for their school and just a disruption to routine. It won't be easy for any of us. This is not going as Lisa promised. Darina thought she said her husband would give an at the mention of divorce and offered to continue doing everything he did for the family but also allow her to date others on the side. I'm quickly losing control of the situation. John, I'm shocked. I need to get some sleep. We'll talk again tomorrow. I go back to bed. You are walking. She was hoping he would come and she would try to use sex to get him to give in without all this. Taking responsibility and sharing the money. Sorry, honey, but I need to write down something else before I go to bed. You know how my brain works. The more we do before the first day, the better we will feel. Good night. Darling. Emma hardly slept. She needed to talk to Lisa and tell her about John's unexpected reaction. Lisa would know what to do next. This confidence allowed her to finally fall asleep. She woke up to start her day and immediately noticed that John was not in bed with her. My God, This idiot stayed up all night working on the divorce list. But when she entered the kitchen, John was not there. Just a notepad on the kitchen table. Emma looked into the guest bedroom and found her husband fast asleep. She returned and started eating breakfast. While everything was getting ready, she looked at her notepad under the heading. Items to change liability were mortgage, homeowner's insurance, gas, water, electric, cable, cell phone, garbage, internet security, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, LifeLift, MeaC. And the list went on. This was in addition to all the banking changes they were talking about last night. On the next page was a projection of his new expenses associated with his stay in the apartment and a broad budget showing how much child support she would need to maintain her and the girl's current lifestyle. This meant they were short several hundred a month. He also compiled a list of ways to cut costs. John will have to give up his favorite trips to Waffle House and Starbucks. He will be in a lot of pain. She grinned then. Added to that was her gym membership. The women's group she was in and eating out more than once a week. He even listed some of the children's expenses as some extracurricular activities included fees, uniforms and other necessary materials to pay for the impact on the children was not part of the calculation of her divorce scheme. On another page, he had a list of things Emma had to do, which included filling up the car with gas, regular car maintenance, calling a mechanic, calling a plumber, calling a heating and air conditioning repair service, mowing the lawn, washing cars, shopping for groceries and etc. She had to put down the notepad. Damn it. Why doesn't John act like he shouldn't give me what I want? I need to call Lisa before John gets up. Hello. Lisa. This is Emma. We have to speak quietly because John is sleeping next to us. How did it go last night? Lisa's voice expressed excitement and an expectation of a positive response from Emma. Instead, asking what he could do to make things better so I wouldn't divorce him. He agreed to the divorce and then started making a list of all the things he was doing. Now that I would have to do if we let's get divorced. John plans to rent an apartment and take care of the girls only every weekend. He says that we need to actually separate and act as if we are actually divorced so that we can make a more informed decision about whether or not to divorce after 90 days. He doesn't act like divorce really scares him. What should I do? Gift. Stupid girl. He's just trying to deceive you. He's bluffing. There's no way he'll sign any real papers. It's a shame that he has to list all the little things he does to make you think you need him more than he needs you. Bottom line. You control the kids in the area between your legs. Only these two things will keep him in line. This is all talk on his part. Don't worry. Soon you and Michael will be doing Mamba in bed and you will still have a husband and a home. I hope you're right and Michael is worth it. Well, John hasn't actually done anything yet. I'll stay strong. At least until I see what he's really going to do. Thank you. Lisa. He gets up. I have to go. Hey John. Gone. Do you want some coffee? Emma asked nervously. Her husband staggered over to the coffee pot and said, drinking coffee late last night wasn't a good idea. I hardly slept. Why didn't you come to bed? Well, I walked, but I didn't trust myself. What do you mean? Honey, I saw you sleeping naked and I got very excited. You are still the most beautiful woman I know. I'm afraid I would suggest that if you allowed me to have sex, it would only be pity sex, to ease my pain over the divorce proposal. I wasn't sure I wouldn't give up. Honey, we're still married. I'm yours and only yours, at least until separation occurs. Can't we act like husband, HB and wife? Until then, I'm afraid not. I am more confident than ever that separation activities must begin as soon as possible. Although the official breakup won't start until the first of the month and actually start at the second. You said, I'm unhappy. It will be hard for me, but I really want to see you happy, even if I no longer play an important role in your life. John, you always seem to forget it's really just a separation and we don't need to get a divorce. Relax. Give me a little time to find myself and I'm sure we'll stay married and it will be even better than before. I wish I could believe it. I decided to take the day off. Billy can supervise the maintenance crews during the day, so I can set some issues of division into motion. This doesn't take effect until the first of the month, so we'll have 94 days where we can actually experience what it would be like if we got divorced. By the way, I'll get us both more cash than usual. You need to use cash until we can get our own credit and debit cards. Luckily, we both have separate checking accounts in addition to the large joint account. I will transfer half the amount from the joint account to each of our separate accounts. We must do this now so that we can receive new cards and checks by the first of the month. Tonight I'll tell you what I did and what you need to do to gain control of your portion of the assets. Or you better hurry up so you don't be late for work. I will prepare the children's breakfast and take them to school. Emma was not very good at her job as an office manager for a regional insurance office. Michael, as usual, came into Flirt's hall with dark wavy hair and a smile that made women unbutton their blouses, in the hope that he would stop and talk to them. After telling Emma how beautiful she was and how underestimated she must be, he asked when they could go listen to beautiful music again. Emma began to worry and told Michael that they would soon be able to be together in a more comfortable environment. However, today she will call him later, near the elevator. When he left her, worries about being separated from John were replaced by memories of kissing and caressing Michael during the ultra-short elevator rides they had taken in the last few months since he had come to work. When Emma returned home from work, she saw evidence that John had been there during the day. She felt better prepared emotionally to deal with all the financial nonsense he was talking about. It was simple. I have 90 days to fool around. We stay married and then I try to figure out how Michael and I can have sex. After that, without getting caught, she sat down at the kitchen table and looked at her notebook again. John added a few more items to the list. Then she noticed a new list. It was called Possible Women for Today. There were 2 columns: women who have already expressed interest, and women would like to know if they are interested. The columns weren't long, but the names in the first column shocked her. One of them is her sister, Olivia. Miss Witch. Emma called her immediately. Hello, Dar. Olivia answered, how are you? How dare you try to steal my husband? Hey, slow down. Girl. What are you talking about? John made a list of women who told him they wanted to date him, and your name is on it. I don't know about the list, but I once told him, after I'd had too much to drink, that if he ever wises up and leaves your stupid, ungrateful ass, I want to replace you. Wait, what's going on there? He's showing you a list of women who want him. Are you saying there's trouble in paradise? Did you catch him or did he catch you having sex with someone else? That's not the point. I just told him that I needed some space, some time for myself, to explore new relationships here. Olivia interrupted her. Yeah, you're looking for it on the side. Who is he? Or are there several of them? No, I haven't been close to anyone yet. John, I will just go through the 90-day separation and decide if we want to stay married or not. It's okay. Obviously, you have someone in mind, but I don't care. So you're telling me that someday soon you two will be legally separated. And if anyone wants to have sex with John, there's nothing you can do about it. Let me know the date and I guarantee that a second after midnight, I will be begging for a date and making it absolutely clear that my body is his, to use the way he wants, and that I am not my sister, and I will be absolutely faithful to him until the end of her life. You better stay away from him. Well, what? You can't do anything if you have a legal separation. And the point is that you are the one asking for it. All these years you've been bragging about what a good provider he is, what a good husband and father he is. Most of all, you talked about what a wonderful lover he is, and you want to throw it away. How can you be such a fool? Have you suddenly become blonde? Like I said, let me know as soon as it's free. This is the only time in our lives when I will be glad to receive help from an older sister. By after the call, Emma tried to calm down. It didn't help that she looked at the lists of women again. She saw Jenny, his secretary, a short single mother, absolutely gorgeous, but almost 20 years younger than John. However, she was first on the list, which meant that she had expressed interest in dating her husband, probably desperate for a sugar daddy to take care of her and the baby. There were 2 women on the list, one of whom was married, That's probably what the M next to her name meant. The other two names were other women who worked where John did. She recognized several more names of women on the list. They were also from our area. John did a lot of free work for neighbors. Although he had a degree in psychology, he worked as a laborer in college. He liked this work and he developed his business so much that now he had 3 teams working under him. I think he was looking at the women's plumbing and also the plumbing in their homes. The 3 women on the list had no names. Only the label waitress at Waffle House, barista at Starbucks and clerk at Walmart. I wonder how many other women find him as attractive as Olivia. I really didn't think he would date while we were apart. Maybe he already has someone in mind. John walked into the house and saw his wife looking through a notebook. He was pretty sure what the next topic of conversation would be. Well, it was in the face. John, it looks like you didn't waste any time looking for a replacement for me. My dear sister, how could you? I was just trying to catch up with you and choosing a boyfriend. What do you mean? I have no boyfriend. I just want to explore some new relationships. What about Michael Turner? How do you know that? Michael Turner? What are you going to do about it? Today, I was at Walmart and ran into Sylvia, your boss's secretary. During lunch break, she's an old gossip. Don't believe anything she says. After a significant pause, Emma could not resist and asked, what did she say? Sylvia said, as far as I understand, you are good friends with one of our new partners, Michael Turner. I must have looked puzzled because she explained, since he visits your wife's office several times a day, and they have lunch together every day. I asked Emma what was going on. You know that our president has a strict policy of exclusion within office fraternization. Anyway, Emma explained that Michael was an old college friend of yours and that you all often did things together. That's why I think Michael is at least one of the men you want to experiment with during your separation. How far have you gone in your research? Michael is just a friend. We did almost nothing except talk. And I think he might be someone I'd like to date. He is very nice to me and compliments my appearance. Even when I'm not at my best, anything special. Did you two do anything that I wouldn't like to see? As Emma quickly recalled the scenes in the elevator, the expression on her face gave away the answer. Maybe more importantly, did you both do something that his wife would be against? Wife? He's not married. Who told you that he is married? What kind of woman do you think I am? Well, you're not very interested in the men you want to meet. Now I will open his Facebook page. That's where I got the information from. After a minute of computer searching, John continued, is this Michael Turner? Well, yes. What does it say about his marital status? It says that he is married to Cynthia and has 2 sons. Trying to quickly come up with an explanation, Emma volunteered. This may be old information. Now he is already divorced. Look again. Website updated 3 days ago. Don't you think he could say something as important as whether he's married or not? And look what his wife wrote last time. The boys and I can't wait to join Michael when school is out. Johnny and Michael Jr., however, were important players on their high school baseball team and could make it to the state tournament. We will reunite with the family as soon as the school year ends. Or maybe later if they do make it to the state tournament. I swear he didn't tell me he was married. I won't do anything to ruin anyone's marriage. You don't seem to mind ruining your own marriage. There was silence. Emma knew she was hooked. She needed time to think Michael was the main reason she wanted to break up. But she couldn't let John find out. Well, I was in the first. He was just one of several men I would be interested in dating. I can make a list. Just like you. Oh my God. I just remembered something important. If we decide that we want to remain married after separation, we must give each other a copy of the medical report to ensure that we are both free of sexually transmitted diseases. Right now you're just being disgusting. Just caution. I wasn't really planning on dating anyone, since it might only be for 90 days. But if I feel the need for sex, I can just find a girl of easy virtue. I'm sure you would like to feel as safe as I do. Remember that it's not just about you. It's all about who you have sex with, who they had sex with before you, and so on. John tried not to show how much he liked to tighten the knots. While Emma fumed, John changed the subject. Okay, Doc. I promised to tell you what I did to help the separation process. Today, I have a lot of things to do, most of which start on the first. Bank accounts and credit cards are the main things to deal with right now. So you have easy access to your money. Mortgage, utilities, etc. may be resolved within the next week or so. Oh, I do have some positive news on the financial end of things. Have I already told you that my secretary, Jenny, works as a night manager at the Royal Arms? These apartments are close to work, so I asked her about openings and they have a bedroom apartment available. But I need to move quickly. They are usually too expensive. But she said that if I became an apartment maintenance specialist, I could get a 50% discount on rent. This means more money for you and the children. You haven't signed the lease yet. Have you? Remember? We have 90 days and you just might come back here if you play your cards right. She wanted to say something about his secretary being a gold digger, but decided that would only make things worse. No, I haven't signed the lease agreement yet. Although I'm afraid I had to explain why I was looking for an apartment. She said they don't usually rent out month to month, but since it would be for 90 days, she thought she could get approval. When Jenny found out about the divorce, she said she wanted me to ask her out. I was surprised by the age difference and all that. I had no idea that she found me attractive. I told her I was flattered, but the rules at work did not allow employees and their managers to have anything more than a professional relationship. Jenny said she could get a job as a secretary somewhere else, if that's what it was about. That's why I included it on the list. Steam was pouring out of Emma's ears. She bit her tongue because her thoughts would make things worse if she turned them into spoken words without waiting for Emma to answer. John continued, the other news is something you should really like. I booked tickets for a 10-day vacation to Hawaii. I waited to tell you because it was supposed to be a surprise for our 20th anniversary. Emma's behavior changed 180 Hawaii. Oh, John. You know how much I always wanted to get there. This is simply fantastic. I can't wait to lay on the beach and swim in the ocean. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. However, John's expression was not the same as his wife's. We're not going to Hawaii. When you told me you wanted a divorce, I suggested that we might not live to see our 20th anniversary. When I tried to cancel the order and get a refund, they said that at this late date I could only get a 20 refund. After thinking about it, I realized that going to Hawaii is more of a dream come true. I thought you might still want to go. So I asked them to change the tickets for you and another person to be named later. It can be a very rewarding start to your new relationship if you can offer your new man all expenses paid trip to Hawaii. But John, it was with you that I wanted to go to Hawaii. We could postpone the separation. In fact, I'm thinking about canceling the whole thing. Now that I've had a chance to think about my life, I'm not so unhappy. Sorry. Dar, I've thought about this a lot. I don't think I would be happy knowing that we would ever go back to possible divorce proceedings. Even if you call off the divorce now, you can't undo what you said you wanted, and you can't undo my imagination of what you and Michael did when you weren't doing anything special. I'll probably go ahead with the divorce, no matter what you decide. Although I can't imagine my life without you and being only a half-father to my girls. John then went upstairs to the guest bedroom. Emma was devastated. She knew only one place to turn. Lisa. She called. Hello. Lila. How are you? Lisa. Everything has gone to hell. John has found an apartment and his skinny secretary is already flirting with him. And my sister wants to go out with him too. The worst part is that he had tickets to Hawaii for our anniversary and he gave them to me to use. But he won't go. He said I could use them to pick up my new boyfriend. What should I do now? Hey, what's the problem? You and Michael will have a great time in the sun. Fun and incredible sex. No, I found out that Michael is married and that his wife and children will move here in a few months. I can't. I don't want to go to Hawaii with him. I want to go with John. Wait a minute. I just realized what was happening. Lisa objected. Damn. John is smarter than I thought. He lies that he booked the trip a long time ago. It was only to make you feel guilty and call off the divorce proceedings. Don't worry. With your hot little body, you could have boyfriends as good or better, Michael, in no time, and still have a husband and family. Oh my God. I never thought he could be so evil. I'll make him pay for this. Thank you. Lisa, I was ready to give up. He will really regret it. Let's talk later. When John came downstairs, He had a little luggage. So you're trying to pretend that you're already moving out. Don't worry. Good riddance. Actually, I was just going to take a few things into the apartment so as not to carry too much at once and scare the girls. Jenny said that I could move some things before the first one, since the apartment was empty. Anyway, your mood seems to have changed since we spoke before. Let me guess you were talking to your marriage expert. Lisa, you really should talk to a marriage expert if you want to stay married. Lisa is a divorce expert. That's all she managed to do. Don't try to get at me by insulting Lisa. She has my back. She was able to point out your Hawaii ticket scam. You made up this story just to make me give up everything. This won't work. I still want a divorce and can't wait to get a divorce. There are a lot of guys who want me and will give me what I need. You're absolutely right, at least about the guys who want you. I don't doubt for a minute that you will have many offers as soon as they find out that you are free. I have always considered myself the luckiest person in the world to have such a beautiful woman like you. Such a wonderful partner in raising children. Until recently, such a faithful wife and lover. You're wrong about the trip to Hawaii. And I can prove it. All you have to do is call Lois Simpson at Flytrack Travel Agency. She was the one who organized the trip. I'll call you Lois. It's John Sinclair. Again, my wife is talking to me on speakerphone. Now you can tell her about the trip. She had several questions. Of course. John, I'm so sorry you can't go. It sounds like you really wanted to surprise your wife and enjoy your vacation. What questions did you have? Mrs. Sinclair, tell me exactly what this so-called trip includes. Emma growled. This is our 10-day trip to the islands, our most popular hotel, food, transportation, hula classes, luau tiki, dancers, surfing, swimming, dancing, all in a romantic setting. I've been with my husband a couple of times and it's really prepared our marriage. When did my HBN first order this trip? Darlin was sure that this would expose to the roosie. Let's see. According to my records, he first called about 3 months ago. Then chose this particular trip 2 months ago and paid for it 2 weeks later. Yesterday he called to cancel the order and get the money. I was sorry that I could only give 20. I was pleasantly surprised that he said to go ahead and you will find someone else to ride with you. That tells me what kind of husband he is. You were just lucky. What other questions do you have? You need to tell me the other person's name as soon as possible. In fact, I can't book plane tickets until I know this person's name. No other questions. I'll call you soon and tell you the name. Emma tried to imagine what Lisa would say based on this information. After a few seconds, she realized you think you've deceived me again. Don't you agree with Lewis that you would pretend that you were planning a trip to Hawaii before I started talking about divorce course? Well, I'm smarter. She was proud of herself for figuring it out without Lisa's help. John sighed loudly and suggested, talk to your parents. What does my parents have to do with it? Who do you think will keep the girls while we're gone here? Let's call them. Emma was taken by surprise. No, you don't have to do that. I need a little time to think. Sorry. Dar, I'm already calling. But John? The call was answered by her mother, who saw the caller's number. Monsieur, how are the girls? Glad to hear from you. Hi, Mom. Emma said hesitantly. Hi. Mom, this is John. We're talking on speakerphone. Wait a minute. I'll call your father too. No. And John heard in the background. Harold, this is John, and Emma answered the phone. Honey. Hey guys. What's the matter? Said Harold, joining the conversation after Emma didn't say anything. John spoke up. Emma knows now, so you don't have to keep it a secret. Son, we are very sorry that you can't go. You didn't tell us why when you called this morning. I hope it's not disease when you called and said we wouldn't babysit the girls while you were in Hawaii, since you weren't coming. It was disappointing because we were looking forward to having the girls with us for 10 days and we were sad for Emma that you couldn't go with her. We know how much she would like to go on this journey, but she would rather go there with you than with someone else. Have you decided who to take yet? Darling, one of the girls. It will be hard for whoever stays. No, Mom. I haven't decided yet. How long has it been since John talked to you about going to Hawaii? I'm not sure. Harold, do you remember it was on New Year's, wasn't it? I'm almost sure 2 or 3 months ago. He said he wanted to warn us in advance so we can stock up on junk food. These two can't really eat anything and never seem to gain an ounce. John, Miss Mother, intervened. Did something happen to Emma? Why are you asking when John spoke to us? Is there something wrong between you? Oh God. Did you break up? Emma replied, no. Mom, not really. We kind of decided that we needed some space. Some time away from each other. To kind of recharge the marriage battery and then maybe get back together. Dar, I'm not going to lie to your parents. They have always been honest and frank with me. Mom, Harold Emma told me last Sunday night that she wanted a divorce. Sides were hard. At the other end of the line. Emma had tried to save herself. That's not what I really wanted to say. The first part of the divorce of Pro DU is a 90-day separation. I wanted this time to help me find myself. Explore new opportunities. Improve myself so that I could become a better wife and mother. And this is my daughter speaking. Harold exclaimed, I know liberal lies when I hear them, darling. Do you have a boyfriend on the side? No, Dad, listen with Thursday. No, not at all. John wanted to say something. That changed his mind. Harold continued as his wife's sobs could be heard in the background. I can't believe you could do something like that. We raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be polite to your new man. We're so sorry. John, at least you promised that you will let us see our grandchildren after the divorce. Emma, also sobbing, interrupted before John could respond. John has blown this whole thing out of proportion. I take my words back, no divorce. No separation. I'll talk to you later when everything calms down. John looked at Emma, who was crying. You need to pull yourself together. The girls will be home soon. Then he moved towards the door with a suitcase in tow. Where you going? Didn't you hear? I don't want to divorce. You don't have to go anywhere. Emma, you unilaterally stated that you want a divorce without talking to me first. Now you think you can unilaterally declare that we won't get divorced because things aren't going the way you planned. You don't seem to understand that I have a voice. After what I've learned about you over the past week, I'm not sure giving up on divorce is a good idea. I'll take a sleeping bag from the garage and stay in the apartment for the night. John, please don't go. I'm sorry. You said it was okay. Before I mentioned this about wanting a divorce, can't you just forget about it and go back to the way things were? You said you were happy. I was happy. Very happy. But I can't forget how you said you were unhappy and how you planned an affair with Michael. As I said, you have already committed adultery. Sophia told me that it would be easy for her to draft the divorce papers, as these were standard terms of divorce. She could probably get them tomorrow. I won't sign them. Emma said sharply, it does not matter. All she has to do is make sure you're officially served. I think she might do it at your job. So there will be a lot of witnesses. Maybe even Michael deserved a claim for alienated affection. Hey, I could even serve your boss for violating company policy. But that would result in both of you losing your jobs. But that's going too far. I need you to be able to take care of the girls after the divorce. I know I just talked to Michael's wife. This should be enough to get back at him. What? Why are you so cruel? I love you and you love me. Is there anything I can mend? You said divorce would be hard on both of us. Don't you want to avoid this pain? I promise to never bring up this divorce mess again. Please stay and let's figure it out. Tears streamed down Emma's face. Joan stood still unsilent. Emma felt she had made an impression. I promise to be the best wife in the world. I won't look at another man. I gave you almost 20 years of a good marriage. 2 wonderful children supported your business, even when it meant you showed up late and dirty. I'm so proud of how you succeeded. Everyone makes mistakes. Please give me one more chance. Please. Finally, John answered. I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and take my suitcase and sleeping bag to the apartment. I'll ask you to write down a few things. Your words and actions hurt me more than you know. If your answers aren't what I'm looking for, I'll consider calling off or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 70. You might want to send the kids to their parents or friends so we can talk freely. Yes, thank you. What should I write? First of all, I want an apology for the fact that you started this whole mess, and I want you to beg, not just beg, but beg me to forgive you. Secondly, I want you to tell Michael not to contact you again, Fritz. What will you tell your wife if he persists? Tell him I can file a lawsuit against him and your company if he doesn't comply. Third, I want you to list all the reasons you can think of why I should consider staying married to you. Finally, I want you to call Lisa and tell her that you never want to talk to her again. This is not discussed. If I ever hear the words Lisa says I have to again, I will leave immediately. Do you understand what I'm asking of you? If you want us to have a chance to stay married. Yes, dear. I think so. I'll do everything and be ready by 7. Fine. See you at 7. John took his suitcase and left. Emma started at the end of the list. She rehearsed what to say to Lisa. Listening to you was the worst decision I ever made because of you. I almost lost everything that was dear to me. Never call me. Text me. Email me or even think about me if you see me in a store or restaurant. Leave my love. Otherwise I may not be held accountable for my actions. Emma was surprised at how good she felt after telling Mirand off. Then she called Michael and told him what John asked him to tell him. She hated hearing Michael beg her to see him one last time at the motel, calling her names and telling her she was probably a lousy lover. Anyway, she shut him up by telling him that her husband could call his wife if he caused any more trouble. The expected hardest thing on the list actually turned out to be the simplest, a list of reasons why John should want to continue being married to her, freed from wanting more than what she had with John. She was able to think about all the joys in their life. Together, Emma was able to come up with a whole list. This must impress John. She thought she had no problem asking him for forgiveness for the divorce scam. How stupid. Selfish and arrogant. I was never again by 7. Now Emma was ready and feeling confident. She got a little worried when S came and John wasn't there. 5 minutes later, he returned without luggage. Emma noticed that his face had not changed since he left that afternoon. She tried to be as kind and modest as possible. Here are my answers. I hope you relent. John looked at the list for a long time. While reading, he began to cry. Emma started crying because he was crying, but thought his expression of emotion was a positive sign. This is very impressive, Daw. Her heart fluttered with hope and she rose to hug him, but he motioned for her to return to her seat. What you have is good, but I still don't know if you understand how much you hurt me. I'm afraid I'll have to continue with the divorce. Emma was completely devastated. Her heart felt like it had been thrown to the ground. She fell to the floor sobbing uncontrollably. Her grief reached depths she had never experienced in her sad state. She said, I ruined the life of my family. I'm the worst person on earth. I don't deserve to live. How could I be such a fool? John knelt down in front of her and whispered, now you see how I felt. While Emma was sobbing on the floor, he walked to the door, stopped and turned to her. Am I right that during separation, we can meet with whomever we want? His wife found it difficult to pull herself together enough to say, but she couldn't stop crying long enough to continue. Okay, if we can date whoever we want. What are you doing on Friday night? Would you like to have dinner and go to a movie? What are you asking me on a date? Yes, I think we've completely ruined our old relationship, but we might have a chance at a new one. Emma stood up and rushed towards John. Yes, 1,000 times. If you enjoy this kind of family revelation, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more plots.